Welcome back, everyone, to video number 10 in our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager. So we've got two races left to go in the year. Let's take a quick look at the standings. You can see the driver and team standings. We are now in 6th place, but I think we're within striking distance of at least 4th if everything goes perfectly. Again, we don't have the speed to keep up with these guys around the track, so we have to hope that our strategy works out for us. But the biggest thing I want to take a look at on this particular screen is here at the top, the prize fund, $125 million. Now, the higher we finish, the bigger portion of that comes to us. Now, I have no idea what the particular portions are based on finishing position and how much they differ, but I do know that we want to get as high as we can so that we can get the biggest percentage of that. That's when we can really start to get into building our headquarters and additional buildings and really move forward on getting a better car. Because I know what's going to happen or at least what I believe is going to happen at the beginning of the second season. I believe it's going to start just like the beginning of this season, where we're still going to have a terrible car in relation to the other teams. You can see here, overall, our car is 9th on the grid. We're worst in engine and gearbox, so we're worse there. And then we come back to 9th and then 9th once again. So we're at the bottom of the grid, and that's where we're going to start our second season, because we haven't had the money this year to really work on improving our car very much at all. So we're going to start there, and we're going to be in the same situation there, trying to play the strategy game. So the quicker we can get some lump sum money in here and start building some of these additional buildings for the HQ, the better off we're going to be. Now, my current plan is to upgrade the factory first, but of course you can see that's $8 million. We're a long way away from that. So I'm hoping the prize money at the end of the year, wherever we end up in the team standings, will be enough to at least get us closer to that number. And that way, we'll have a shot going into next year, that shortly into the next season, because it takes these things a long time to build. So even if we were able to build it right now, we wouldn't get any benefit for 20 weeks. So that's quite a while. So that's the plan going forward. Let's go ahead and get time going, because we just finished our race. So first things first, they're going to have to repair our car, and then they're going to get busy working on improvements to the car. Okay, we got a couple of things in our mail. All right, so we got another news story there. We're not going to worry about that. Again, we're not trying to get people from other teams right now. We're not interested in poaching anybody. All right, so there's our email that we get after each race, letting us know that our car repair is done, and now they're going to go back to work on improving the parts. So let's see what they're going to work on. Okay, they're going to pick up and work on the original engine, which we can see here, the 53 out of 65. So they're going to try to get it closer to 65, while hopefully not hurting the reliability. We'll see how that goes, because I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work out. And so basically at this point of the season, we're kind of out of things to do on this end of improving parts. Now, we could go back in and attempt to create new engines or gearboxes and try to improve our standing there, but you can see it costs quite a bit of money, and at this point I'm trying to save. But it is very tempting to go in and try to work on new parts and pieces. But I'm trying to save some money here, and I'm hoping I can make it through and sort of limp through the rest of this season, and then next year really get a focus on some additional headquarter buildings and go that route. So let's see what they've got going. Okay, performance work will be done very shortly. And then after that, we've got a couple of upper tier races that are going on. So let's let that go ahead and happen. Okay, performance work is done. Okay, we're going to have an email here about that. Performance work is complete, and now everybody is just sitting around doing nothing on this side of things. Okay, so let's autofill there. And let's see, average brakes, there we are. Okay, we're not even using those. So brakes are maxed out, 68 out of 68, 39 out of 39. So there's really nothing more for us to do there. Okay, then we get the original, oops. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Is there anything else that we actually can work on? Engines, you can see that we're at 65 out of 65, 52 out of 52. Did not hurt reliability at all. Can't do anything with the front wings other than maybe reliability, but we're already maxed out there. Gearbox, we actually can work on gearbox. Let's go ahead and work on the performance of that particular gearbox. 16 out of 46, that's definitely not good. And doesn't look like it's going to hurt the reliability. So I'm interested there. We're still going to be done 2 days before the race. That is exactly what I want to hear. And then the suspensions. Okay, looks like there's some room there for that. So let's go ahead and get both of those queued up. I tell you what, I'm not sure how this works. In other words, it's telling me right now that these are going to be done 12 days after the race. Well, if I remove this, I'm done 2 days before. So does that mean that this part will be done regardless of whether the second slot is done? I'm not sure. So rather than taking that chance, what I'm going to do is go ahead and just have them work on the gearbox now, and then we'll go from there and see how that works after that. So let's go ahead and come back in here. And now we're going to have a vote coming up pretty soon that's going to be very important, I think, for us. Okay, let's go ahead, and it stopped the time because it wanted us to see the upper two tiers are racing, and I simply don't care right now. We're at least another full season away from being concerned with that. Okay, let's come back in. And so the vote is what I'm looking forward to. So let's go ahead and fast forward and get to that. Okay, here we are. Okay, so we've got the politics. Now, what we're voting on here is spec suspension system. Just like we have spec front and rear wings, they want to have spec suspensions. Now, in one way, that could be good for us because it means that that's one fewer thing that we have to focus on improving next year. But on the downside is the suspension is our strongest component right now. We're still at the bottom of the field, but it's our strongest component. So actually, I'm just going to abstain from voting in this one, and that'll give me an extra vote in whatever comes up next. So let's see how this works its way out. Concluding the vote. Okay, it's approved by a huge margin. So it looks like everybody is more or less cost conscious and not wanting to worry about that. So we'll see how that affects us. But now that means that we'll have 3 spec parts going into next season. Let's go ahead and get that email off the books. All right, now we are going to be moving forward. We've got our race in 13 days. So we know that it told us our new performance upgrade was going to be done a couple of days before the race, and sure enough, there it is. All right, now we've got a new news story about one of our drivers. So Sergio now has a new trait added. All right, he's got +2 focus because he does some meditation before the race that really helps him to get focused. All right, I'm good with that. I was scared it was going to be something about how he was getting in bar fights or something, and it was going to hurt his performance. So that's a nice surprise for me. All right, World Motorsport Championship. Don't care how they're doing. What I do care about, however, is this performance work that is about to be done. We're going to go ahead and pause. Okay, we didn't have to pause it. It looks like it. Did we get done? Nope, not quite. There we go. Now we're done with that. So we come back in here and see our email. Performance work is complete. Now we come back in to our parts factory and see that we're empty. Now if, let's see, gearbox is now 46 out of 46. Excellent. So now we have 2 gearboxes. If you remember, this was, I believe, 16. So that's quite an improvement. Now, if we come back and look at what other parts we might want to work on, we only need 2 parts. So we got 68 and 39. Those are not getting any better because there's no room left without designing a brand new brake component, that is. Then you've got 65 and 52. So those are much closer. But again, nothing else we can do there. Okay, nothing we can do there with our spec front wing. It's already maxed out on reliability. So we're good there. And gearbox. So now we're at 46 and 40. So we're much closer to even there. That's good. That's what we want. And rear wing, nothing to do there. Maybe a touch more on reliability, but for all intents and purposes, that's maxed out. Then we come down to suspension. You can see there's a fairly large gap there. But we can get all the way up to 91 here. We can get to 97 there. We're already there. So now we need to work on this part. It's going to be ready before the final race of the season, but not before this next race, which is perfectly fine. That's, just the way things work. So I'm not worried about that. Now it's time to get ready for our next race. All right, so we need to choose a sponsor. Who do we go with? Well, we're not going to go with the safe pick here, even though we might not end up making second or sixth. I'm going to go with sixth because even though we've won a race, I'm not, the odds to me are not high enough to take this risk. So, but I do think we have a reasonable chance of finishing sixth or above unless some things go very wrong during the race, such as we could have safety cars, we could have a wreck, or somebody could run into us where we have to make an extra pit stop to fix a part. So, just different stuff like that. But I think we have a very good chance of finishing at least one of our cars sixth or better. So we're going to go there. Part fitting. Let's go ahead and see what we get here. So we're going to autofill, and let's make sure that the autofill did what I wanted it to. So we're at 68 and 39. Okay. And looks like it swapped things around for our drivers. So I'm going to be probably changing that around a little bit. So better engine. The better engine is back over here. Okay. So we're going to change that around. Now that makes Sergio angry, but I'm not doing that because, even though Rafael is a better driver stats wise, the real reason I'm doing that is because Rafael is going to be starting at the front of the pack, first, second, or third, somewhere in that range. Whereas Sergio is going to be back toward the middle of the pack, middle to back of the pack, which makes it very difficult for him to get up front. It's very difficult to pass cars here. So I want to give the best components to our best chance in the race, and that is when we're starting up front. So that's what I want to do. Now, I don't want to give him, an overwhelmingly better car. I still want to try to keep it as even as I can to get the best finishing position for both cars. But when in doubt, I do want to give at least an even car, if not a little bit better, to the car up front. Okay, so we're in good shape here. Again, suspension is better for Sergio. We're not going to compete based on speed anyway. All right, so I think we're in good shape here. That's the way I want it. So here we are getting ready for our practice session. We're going to choose our two drivers, and then we're going to choose setups. Now, we've been to Italy before. We've been to the Milan track earlier in the season. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with very close to what we ended there with in the previous race. Not exactly. I'm also going to take into account the setup that we've used at other tracks recently and had some good results with. So we're going to start out somewhere around there and see. I'm going to start out with about 16 and let's go about 26. And we'll see how that goes. That may be it's a little higher than what I used the last time here, but that's kind of by design. Okay, we're going to leave these two alone for now and work on the suspension. So I'm going to go 56 and 56, which is what I used last time here, and we're going to see how that works out. I'll tell you what, I am going to change this. I just realized that I did. So, all right, so we're more or less really in the middle here on the setup as far as handling goes. And on the downforce, we're between the O and the W. Again, I really wish they would give us some sort of a grid or some measure here that we could use rather than trying to, here, because what happens when you're out in here? There's really nothing for you to gauge by. So we're between, we're between the O and the W there. We're pretty much right on the D there. And then speed balance looks like we're at right at the B on that. Okay, so let's see what our weather looks like. Don't see any rain around. Let's hope that continues. Okay, so let's go ahead and confirm that. So Sergio is ready to go. Now, if anything, and this is where I just have to guess. My guess here is that if anything, the downforce we're going to want is less than what I chose for Sergio. So with that in mind, I'm going to choose downforce in this area around the F. So that would be lower downforce. Now the handling here, I don't want it to be exactly the same, which is pretty much what it is right now. I don't want it to be the same. Our speed balance, so we'll come back to the handling. The speed balance, so we are pretty close to right here. There, I actually want longer gears for some top speed. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that there. So I'm going to push it more toward the top speed direction. Now, for our handling, which direction do I want to go? Well, I want to come a little bit, let's go a couple of, there, back toward handling. So we're going to go toward the A in handling and about toward between the A and the N on speed balance. That should have us hopefully in the right direction. Now, it could be that what we needed to do was go the opposite direction in all these, but we'll find out shortly. All right, so during these practice sessions, remember, what's important is the feedback. Okay, let's go ahead and send him out. Of course, we're going to do short one-lap stints. Okay, and let's go ahead and send him out as well. Make sure, yeah, one-lap stint there. Okay, and let's speed things up, and we'll see what we get. Let's put it on our first driver out. So Sergio is going to lead the way. But it looks like Rafael is closing in on him quickly here. Wow. I mean, their cars aren't that different. So this gives you some pause to think, maybe I do need to give Rafael the better car overall. Okay, so gear ratio's too short. Okay, handling feels great. Okay, so far so good. And of course, we'll get to see the final feedback once we come in. All right, let's see what feels like. Just the right aero setup. So he likes the aero. Okay, and remember, the aero here is a little bit higher than what we used on Rafael's car. All right, so both cars are on their in lap. All right, perfect gear ratios. All right, so let's see what we've got here. We've got good, great, and okay. So then we've got great, excellent, and good. All right, so that means let's go ahead and send him out first. Let's see, good, great, and okay. So we're better off with our setup here. So what we're going to want to do is, because we're lower on everything over here, we're going to want to see which direction we want to go. Now, obviously, if it's already at the excellent category, we don't want to change anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, so we've got our test set up. So we know 15 and 25 on our wings here are in good shape. We also know our handling right at the A in handling is where we want it. Okay, so we're not interested in changing that around. But our speed balance, we may need to come back just a little bit. And so let's try that out. Okay, we'll come back just a touch. Okay, you see that doesn't really affect our handling very much at all. And that's exactly what we want. And also, I'm going to come back a little bit. There we go. See if we can get from great to excellent there. So we're going to go ahead and send him back out. Okay, so let's go ahead and put new tires on. Take a quick glance here to see any rain. Nope, looks like we're going to continue to gain grip there. Okay, pit stop looks like it's going to take a little while. And I believe we are ready to go there. Now, on this, we're going to come down for Sergio. We're going to come down a little bit closer to, reduce the downforce and get closer to our other car. So we were at 15 and 25 on the other car, and we went up to 15.3 and 25.3. So I'm going to come down to about 15.6 and 25.6. Okay, so that's going to put us, okay, in that area. Okay, we're going to leave this as is. I tell you what, we may need to tweak that just a little bit. All right, so our speed balance, okay, it's just okay here, but it was excellent on the other, and it was between the L and the A. So I'm going to go ahead and come out just to the acceleration side of that and go between the A and the L. And hopefully between one of these two, we will get the excellent. All right, on handling, we were right at the A. So let's see what we can get. I'm going to go right at the N. Okay, so with that in mind, let's see, 1 lap stint, put on some new tires, and send them both out. So we got the pit stops happening right now. Okay, Rodriguez is going to get out first. Sergio so far has run a better lap, so he's holding his own there. I was a little worried when they first came out of the pits that wasn't going to be the case. But so far, so good. All right, Rodriguez, we need some good feedback here and hopefully get as close to 100% setup as we possibly can. I think we're well on our way to at least mid-90s. Okay, speed balance is better. Speed balance is better for both. All right, that's what I like to see. So if we're not right on top of the excellent number on speed balance, I think we're going to be extremely close. All right, come on, guys. Give us some more feedback here. Here we go. Gear ratios are looking good. Aero feels great. That's exactly what I like to see for feedback. And we're both cars are on their end lap now. So we'll get back in and let's see, with 2 minutes left, are we going to have enough time? Okay, let's get both cars back in. All right, there we go. So now we are great, excellent, and good, excellent, excellent, and great. Wow, that is exactly what we're looking for. So with that, let's go ahead and get both of these cars back out on the track if we can. First, let's come in because we got 2 excellents here. Let's get Rodriguez taken care of. So here for Rodriguez, you can see we're at 96%. We started off at 93 after our first run. Now we're at 96. So I think this is not something I want to mess around with a whole lot. We've got 2 excellents and a great. Now, our previous setup, if we come back in here, you can see that the speed balance was further toward top speed. Now, in order to get to excellent, I think I could go one more in this direction, maybe, and get excellent. But since we've got time for another stint, I think that's exactly what I'm going to test and see if we can get that done. Again, another 1 lap stint, some new tires. Take a look at the weather. Oh, it looks like it's about to start raining. Yes, it is about to start raining in a big way. Wow. Okay, I'm glad I took a look at that. And because of that, we're going to put on full wets because that looks like it is going to be a downpour in a hurry. Okay, so we'll go full wets there and send him out. So we're in a good position there because worst case scenarios, we come back to a 96 setup. All right, now that brings us to Sergio. And the first thing I'm going to do is make his downforce match the other car. He's already at great. You can see he's at a 94% setup. His handling is also looking very good. Okay, so we're not going to mess with that. So this should give us excellent and excellent. Now the speed balance, where do we want this to be? Well, we are at the same level as we were on the other car, but we're just at good here. Let's go ahead and see what that does for us. All right, we might as well, I really don't want to test that out because it changes the handling a little bit more than I wanted to. All right, so let's see our speed balance. Where do we need that to be? And let's come back in just a little bit because On our speed balance, we were between the L and the A. Let's go ahead and move it down a little bit farther toward acceleration. Although I'm very tempted. I tell you what, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and test this right at the A. All right, because if it doesn't work, we can always put it back to make it identical with the other car, which is at a 96. So both of these are looking very good. All right, so we got wet tires on here, and let's go ahead and send them out for their final stint. I'm very happy that we had an opportunity to get a third stint in here. Okay, so we're on full wets, and the downpour has begun. Okay, let's see if we can get some great feedback here. Again, they're not going to have time to run maybe even a full out lap. In fact, they're not. They're not even going to get around to making one lap. But in this case, that's okay. We still get the feedback. I was hoping we could get maybe a lap in, but not the end of the world. Okay, so now here we go. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We got excellent, excellent, and still good. Okay, so that's what I like to see. Next, we'll come back and set up our final setups for the race. So with practice done and some great setups that we've been able to determine during that practice session, it's time for the race. So we've got a 10% bonus on race trim and on soft tires, so we're really hoping that it doesn't rain. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to. So let's go ahead and take care of our car setups. Nothing to change on our setup for Raphael. He's at 98%. Hard to do much better than that. So we're going to leave that as is. Make sure he's on a fresh set of rubber and full of fuel. And we'll confirm that. Now we come over to Sergio. His aero is already matching to Raphael's car. He's a little bit different here because of the camber, but that's okay. And otherwise, he is identical. Okay, if we want to come back on that. Actually, I think I will do that. Let's go ahead and change that just a little bit. But otherwise, we are, because this will make us identical in setups between both cars. And that's something I do want to do. So, all right, tire choice. Yes, brand new tires. Fuel maxed out. We'll confirm that. Our driver strategy, as always, because we do not have the speed to keep up, we're going to go with low fuel burn, as low as possible, to try to make this on one stop. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get this race started. Okay, we'll be starting up front with Raphael in sort of mid-pack with, there you see Raphael is starting third. Okay, hopefully the goal here is for Raphael to keep his position and then for Sergio to maintain as many positions as possible. Okay, we'll go ahead and speed up time. And let's focus on Rodriguez. Oh, wow, great start for him. He's in second. So far, Sergio remains in 10th. All right. Boy, I would really like to see him stretch out a lead here. Doesn't look like it's happening. We just don't have the top end speed, and that is killer here at this track. So you can see we've got some hungry cars lining up behind us. Sergio is starting to fall back through the pack. All right, and Raphael is doing the same. This is not good. This is where having an engine that is subpar as well as a gearbox that is subpar really hurts us. So we're at third and 19. So Sergio is basically falling back to the rear of the field at this point. All right, so Sergio, we really need him to focus on fuel. You can see here 4.06 versus 3.9. So he's got more fuel. He's doing, at this point, a better job of saving his fuel. But Raphael has the track position. Oh, and now we've got a yellow flag. Okay. Now, with that in mind, we've got a yellow flag. What do we need to do here? We've got a choice. Do we, what I'm inclined to do here is, in fact, let's go ahead and keep the time going, but we'll slow it down. Now, because we're about a half lap away from coming in, do I bring one or both cars in to pit. Let's take a look at the weather forecast. I don't see any rain coming. Or do we stick with the strategy? I'm inclined to stick with the strategy. That will get us both cars up front. And I think the AI will still need to make at least one more stop even after this one. So I'm inclined to go that route. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick with that strategy and keep both cars out. That will put us in first with Rodriguez. And let's see where Sergio comes up to. All right, as everybody files into the pits, Sergio will now move all the way up to second. Okay, excellent. And again, I did that because this might make us able to really do well. Okay, so we are green again. Excellent. I did not see that coming. So it was a very short stint, and now I'm very happy because look at the lead we have here on the mini map. We have a huge lead. All right, so who's going to run out of fuel first? It looks like it's going to be Rodriguez. All right, so he's going to come by here the next time. And as soon as he passes by, there. As soon as he passes by, we're going to go ahead and set up the pit stop for him. And again, take a quick look at the weather forecast. Does look like it's going to get cloudy, but hopefully no rain. I don't see any rain. There. Okay, we're going to put on a fresh set of dry weather tires. Fill him up with fuel. And strategy, go ahead and remain balanced. Okay, continue. And he's going to come in to pit. And actually, I believe we can pit both at the same time because there's enough gap here between the two. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and put some fresh tires on. Again, I'm hoping for dry weather here. Okay, 6 laps remaining, so we're in good shape there. Nothing to repair, and we'll leave that as balanced as well. So both cars are going to come in to pit next time by. All right, so we're looking very nice here for Rafael. He has got quite a lead. He should be able to keep that lead upon the pit stop, and what I'm really hoping is that these drivers are spaced just far enough apart so that they don't interfere with each other's pit stop. Let's go ahead and spin the camera around. All right, coming in for pit stop. So he's gone. Now that brings in Sergio. Oh, perfect timing there. So Sergio's going to come out. Unfortunately, he will come out much deeper in the field. Okay, now they have gained on us for the lead, and now Sergio, unfortunately, is stuck back mid-pack. You can see here, he is in the middle of this conga line that is going around the track. But up front, we've got a little bit of a lead, and we need to keep that. All right, so now we're showing excess fuel. Let's go ahead and change that to medium. On the strategy, give us a little bit more speed and hopefully enable us to keep this lead. All right, so we're focused on Rodriguez here. Sergio has moved up to 7th because we got some pit stops that are happening for the AI right now. All right, so far so good. All right, so now we've got more pit stops happening for the front runners. That moves Sergio up to 3rd. All right, so far so good. We're still showing excess fuel. That's what I want to see. Because the last thing we want to do is ruin our strategy by running out of fuel. But it doesn't look like that's going to be a problem. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be in good shape with fuel. All right, our pace is good for both cars. And looks like we may have a shot at 2 podiums. Wow, to get both cars on the podium would be huge here. But looks like we're at 2 laps to go now. All right, and Sergio has now moved into 2nd position. Boy, this is turning out about as great as it possibly could have. A 1st and 2nd finish sweeping the top 2 positions would be amazing. All right, and as it turns out, a short safety car period really didn't seem to hurt us. And I think it was because it was so short that we were able to gap the field rather than restart the race all bunched up. All right, so we got the top 2 positions. I'm watching this mini map very closely. All right, we're coming down to the finish. All right, So we got the win. Sergio going to try to bring it home second, and he will. All right, folks, I got to admit, I'm pretty excited by that finish. A 1-2 finish with our cars really being down on speed. Our strategy worked out to perfection, even with a safety car in there. So I could not be happier. We'll be back in a few moments once everything works its way through. All right, the race is over, and I have saved it just in case we get a crash here. All right, scrutineering is complete. Of course, we have no risk of breaking any rules, so we don't have to sweat that. All right, our 1-2 finish. Wow, that's pretty amazing. I am very happy there. Sweeping the top 2 spots on the podium. Again, doesn't get much better than that. All right, so that moves us up. Let's see, driver standing. Sergio moves up to 8th. And of course, that moves up Rafael to 16th. But that does have a different side effect here. That will mean that Rafael will move down in the starting positions for next race, as well as Sergio. So it will hurt us in our starting positions, but we are now up to 4th in the team championship with a 6-point lead over 5th. And wow, so if we have another great result, we could get as high as 3rd, and hopefully we don't have to worry about dropping any. That's for sure. We don't want to worry about that. All right, so now we've got a few tidbits there, some Twitter references. And now let's take a look at how we've done for our morale. It's hard to imagine it not going up. All right, so we're up 18% to 95 for Rafael and up 25 to 44% for Sergio. Again, Sergio is going to be lower because he's not happy right now that I haven't given him the absolute best car. So drivers are getting better. It's improvement there. And let's see, we're up to 75% relationship with the mechanic. No change there. And now we just got a new unlock. Medium tires wear more slowly. Okay, we're probably not going to use that a whole lot, but it's always nice to have. But mechanic and driver relationship is always important. All right, so we come back over here, and we see that, of course, we came in 1st, and we're expected 9th. No change there. 90% seems to be the highest happiness you can get. But most importantly, our marketability continues to increase. Boy, that is exactly what you're looking for. So, folks, I really appreciate you joining me and your support of this series as well as the other series on the channel. It is greatly appreciated and does not go unnoticed. So I did want to let you know that and give you a huge thank you for all your support. Thank you for joining me in episode 10 of our Let's Play series, and stay tuned for more Motorsport Manager.